Losing your hair to chemo, it's tough. If you're struggling with this, I want you to know that you are not alone. I really struggled with losing my hair to chemo. Now, some people will say, it's just hair, don't worry about it. And I even know that some women feel like they're just being vain because they're worried about their hair falling out. But the truth is, if you're feeling like traumatized by this, that's okay. So did I. I can understand how you could feel this way. Before cancer, my hair, it was really part of my identity. So having it all fall out, it was traumatizing. After mine fell out, I would search online to see how fast it was gonna grow back. What would it look like at 1 month, 6 months, 1 year? How long was this gonna take before I felt like myself again? So as my hair grew back, I took pictures for comparison, step by step. And I wanna show you those here. But the emotional aspect of losing your hair, it's tough. Of course, I wasn't quite sure exactly when it would start falling out after I started chemo. I figured it was gonna be a couple of weeks, but I wasn't really sure. So I held on to it for as long as possible. And I'm honestly not sure if I would do the same thing again. If I were to do it all again, I'd probably do it differently. Some people will say to brush it as little as possible, or to use baby shampoo to help it stay just a little bit longer. But in hindsight, doing all of this is kind of pointless. It's going to eventually fall out. But doing all of this just causes a lot of anxiety and uncertainty. During that period, I was scared to touch my hair because I wasn't sure if it was gonna start falling out. Then, when it did start falling out, it was rough. At first, it was just a bit of soreness, kind of like if you have your hair in a ponytail for too long, it was just a bit sore. Then it started falling out in strands, and then it started falling out a lot. I would run my fingers through my hair without even really thinking, and a lot of hair would fall out. My car was covered in hair. My pillow had hair on it. It was obviously thinning. It didn't look good. I wish I hadn't had held on to it for so long. But I completely understand my resistance too, or your resistance if you feel the same way. Because when you finally are bald or when you shave it all off, it's the first really visual step into being a cancer patient. Everyone knows at that point you're a cancer patient and you yourself have to face it too. I know at one point I was on vacation with my family after cancer and a guy across the street from us yelled across and said, "Yes, cancer survivor." I mean, he was trying to be nice, but there are moments where I just don't want to be put on display like that. There are moments where you don't want to be called out to, but without covering up that you're bald, you really have no choice anymore. So finally, as my hair started falling out, I just went for it and shaved it off. And here's the thing, as soon as I shaved it off, I felt so much better. It was such a relief. It took some power back from the situation, like it didn't have to worry about my hair falling out anymore. It was over, it was done. Now, obviously, I would prefer to have hair than to be bald, but it was so much better when I just finally shaved it off. Now I could just accept it, start from scratch, and move on. During chemo treatment and while my hair was growing back, I wore a lot of beanies or toques. I'm Canadian, so we call them toques. It was winter when I was getting chemo, so this was really no problem. Also, you don't realize how warm your hair keeps your head. I mean, without hair, you need something on your head to keep it warm during those cooler seasons. I also had a couple of wigs. One was super cheap, I got from Amazon. It really only looked good if I was wearing a hat or a beanie over top of it. Then my other wig, it was a bit more expensive. It was around $1,000. This one I wore most of the time and I liked it quite a bit. But here's the thing, it still didn't look like my own hair. The wig I got was blonde and I had always been a redhead. Never even dyed my hair before. So now that I was blonde, people didn't recognize me. I mean, people that knew me really well, they would walk right by me. They were used to seeing someone with red hair, not a blonde. It just felt like a disconnect from who I was. Because I'm a redhead, it was really hard to match my hair color to a wig, and I needed someone with expertise in that. Unfortunately, at that time, I didn't know who to turn to. Now that I'm more of an experienced cancer survivor, I can tell you 100% I would have gone to the Wig Fairy. They're amazing and their wigs are gonna make you feel like yourself. It's gonna be pricey, but geez, gosh, what I would have given to actually look and feel like myself as I was going through cancer treatment. After finishing chemo, my hair slowly started growing back. I I really wanted to do something to speed up the process. I mean, I think we all probably feel that way. So here are the main things that I focused on to get my hair to grow back faster and healthy after chemo. The first was good nutrition. Your food makes a massive difference in your hair growth. Your hair needs certain amino acids to grow. And if you don't have those amino acids, then the process can really slow down. So how you can make sure you're getting those amino acids is to eat a variety of different protein sources. Amino acids come from protein. So if you eat a variety of protein, then you'll be sure to get the amino acids that you need to help your hair grow. The second thing I did was scalp massage. I mean, this honestly feels amazing. Especially when you're bald without your hair getting in the way, a scalp massage feels so good. So I would just massage my scalp for 15 minutes every night while I was watching TV. This massaging stimulates blood flow to the area and helps your hair grow back. The last thing I did was use rosemary oil. Rosemary oil has been found to be just as effective as Rogaine in helping your hair grow. So I use that along with a massage to help my hair grow back faster. But I do want to show you my hair regrowth, what it looked like before chemo, during chemo when I was bald, and as it grew back out. So here I am right before my diagnosis. I had actually just gotten married. And then here I am during chemo. I kept my eyebrows and my eyelashes, but every single strand on my head was gone. I typically went for a beanie when I was at home, but if I wanted to look a little bit nicer, I would put on my wig. I would often just be bald at home, and if someone came to the door, I would kind of rush and put something on my head just so I didn't scare them. Then here's my hair at 1 month after I finished chemo, just starting to get some sprouts. Here it is at 3 months and at 6 months. Now, I did dye my hair blonde at this time. My hair started coming back after chemo as this ashy color, and I didn't really love it. I wasn't sure if it was gonna stay this way or if it was gonna come back as red. So in the meantime, I just dyed it blonde. But I didn't keep it this color for long because I didn't really like it. So I dyed it darker and closer to my natural color. It was more fitting because it was winter then too, and then I just let it keep growing out. It did eventually come back as the exact same color and no curls, exactly the same. And this is me at 1 year after chemo. I also did get my hair cut along the way. I trimmed up the back so it did look more like an intentional haircut. Then this is me at 18 months post-chemo and 2 years after chemo. Now this is me today, 6 years after finishing chemo. I've obviously had my hair cut several times at this point, but I think it took me probably 2.5 to 3 years to grow my hair back out to the length I wanted it. That's a long time, but my hair is also really long. But it only took about 6 to 8 months after chemo before I really felt like my hair looked like an intentional haircut. I didn't feel like a cancer patient anymore. I just felt like a regular person. Okay, so now that you've seen my process in growing my hair out, I want to show you more about how I got to grow my hair out fast. I'm linking this video up here. This has all my tips and tricks to get your hair to come back fast after chemo. Click the link here. I'll see you in the next video.